Guys, welcome to Uwe Boll Raw USA. I'm Gary Otto. We're here with Dr. Uwe Boll once again for another wonderful episode of Uwe Boll Raw. How have you been, my friend?
You're good. The summer continues. We had visitors from Canada. Now, today's nobody here, but tomorrow comes a friend from my son KJ from Vancouver for a week. Then other friends from Vancouver come, a whole family. Michaela Mann, the actress, with her family. She was in Heart of America, Assault on Wall Street, a lot of my films, and a friend from my wife. So we have still the full-on holiday spirit going for 2 more weeks. Then Walter has school, and KJ will fly back to Vancouver. So then we're going back in a normal rhythm. And at the same time, I working hard, of course, finishing run. What I do basically from here, I get everything on my computer, the sound, the picture, the CGI, the cut, the shots. So, and in 4 weeks, run will be finished. And yeah, the good thing is that the agency UTA will help us selling the film, what is very, very good. One of the biggest agencies in the world with like LeBron James and whatever, I think Stallone, Schwarzenegger, a lot of big stars. What will hopefully help get run a bigger release as First Shift now. But I mean, First Shift is in a few movie theaters. We released it everywhere. June 30 is the D-Day. And it's a beginning, right? I mean, if we get there some audience going, maybe they get more theaters.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have, of course, that's not the big advertising budget, but the PR agency from Quiver got me 7 interviews for Monday on Tuesday. And it's just like grassroots marketing, basically. But maybe, hopefully, we get some uh people going in so that their movie series maybe say, look, we played the second week, or we spin it off in a few more theaters.
Yeah, guys, I hope that everybody out there, not all the theaters have their tickets up yet, but they're going to be listed in the coming days, and you should
Yes.
get your tickets soon. It is going to play for at least a week, like he says, and
Yep.
more of you come out and see it. Maybe there'll be more demand for it, but a week is great. Unfortunately, it's not in New York City. It's in White Plains, like
Yeah,
that's
it's a little
upstate.
outside. It's an hour,
Yeah.
hour outside, right? So good, but it is what it is. So we have to live with it. And I emailed, of course, all the crew in New York, all the cast from New York. They said we make a trip out there. That would be good. So if you go in New York as fan, you maybe get also to see a lot of the actors in the movie theater. What
Yeah,
is,
everybody in New York, come out, meet the
yeah,
actors, like you
you know,
said. That's
yeah,
awesome.
maybe John Megaman or so on, like some people. That would be good. And so I really hope that the turnout is okay. But it is day to day with Apple and Amazon and so on. So you can buy it also online the same day. So if you live far away from the movie theater, just buy it right away and watch it. Um, yeah, and then we go from there. I'm happy that that happens. It's not usual anymore for a lot of films to even have any theatrical appearance, and so from this point of view, I count this as a success. You know, yeah,
Yeah, no, everybody. I heard from a lot of you guys out there in other countries asking about releases in other territories. Of course, it will eventually release, in other territories, but for now, you have online. You can buy it online digitally. I
yes,
know people want the physical release. Some people really like the full collectors. You've seen how many people have their full Uwe Ball box
yeah.
set collections.
Yes, they have like the DVDs or the Blu-rays, and I hope, of course, that Quiver will bring a DVD Blu-ray. I did a director's commentary already, and I mean where that commentary should be, if not on the Blu-ray or DVD, it will be not on Apple, it will be nowhere. So that would be good, And then also parallel comes that book, the Uwe Boll, a memoir, and I got already some people say we want the audio book, so you better start taping taping.
Yes, I am working on it actually. What it is that when you record an audiobook, if you make any linguistical error, or there's any sounds or anything like you hear my dog, it has to be, I have to do it in the middle of the night. I have to do it so there's no sounds. I
Yeah.
have to do it in like 15 to 30-minute bursts. So if there is an error, I don't have to start all the way back. I can just cut it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then just a bunch of little things cut together. It is a long book. It's
I know
gonna be
it's
great.
tough. I did
It's
it
gonna be great.
myself with the German version of the book with the finger. The Ihr könnt mich alle mal was in German, and so I did it in a session in 2 days in a studio from that book publisher, and it was extremely exhausting because, as you said, like the language changes right after an hour of reading. I got really like tongue twistless, like where you have real problems to read it the same way you're reading it the first 15, 20 minutes. If you can do it in 15 to 30-minute sections and then totally recover and do it another day, I mean, you have a little time. You don't have to like rush it out within a week, right? It can come up a few months later. And because then it will get way better. It was very tough this 2 days because they booked the studio only the 2 days, and it was very hard on me. Yeah.
Yeah. You know that guy Artie Lang from Howard Stern?
Yes.
Do you know?
Yeah.
He did an audiobook of his book, and apparently he got tired of reading halfway through the book. So he brought in people who could like barely pronounce anything in the book to finish the book.
Like people from the
Uh,
streets, and they like total
and they're
like,
like studying, how do you pronounce that word?
but it fit to him, right?
Yes, I would not do
And
that
I
for
think
this
it was
book. Don't
maybe
worry.
even selling very good, the audiobook, even if it totally sucked, like reading wise, but it's maybe funny to do it this way. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to do it this way. Let's make it proper, you know,
Yes.
and then we go from there. But I like it how it looks like. People are also twittering about it already, and that is kind of exciting. Um, yeah, and so on. I mean, I'm in the process of like pushing other projects forward. It's not so easy again with the casting, and it's like we use this here, I would say, a shout out to big movie stars should play more in independent films to support them. That's the first thing. But the second thing is also that big movie stars, like take Mel Gibson as an example, they are legends and legends for the great films they did when they were young. Now it's all about the money, and the agents are kind of like cutting them off the communication with filmmakers. They say, I protect you and your interests. But the reason that actors like when Bruce Willis was still filming, or John Travolta, Mel Gibson, and these people, why there are so many times now in bad films in small parts is because they ask for too much money. So people give them little parts for one day. They hire them for one day, and they're making like $500,000, $750,000 for one day. Russell Crowe, all that legends, and it's not in their interest. It destroys their reputation. I was very sad how Bruce Willis destroyed his whole reputation because he was also a good actor. He was not only like a superstar in a way, and Mel Gibson also. These are overall very good actors, and that they do this to themselves, even if they already made enough money, I think, for 5 lifetimes. So I think they make the creative wrong decision to do it this way. And I hope that yeah, I just hope that they're little like getting more free from their agents. So if everybody hears that, if Mel Gibson hears that, talk to me. I have a good job for you, but I cannot pay you like you do Lethal Weapon Part 5. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, naja, but uh
You know who you should try again? You should try Johnny Depp.
yeah,
I think he would have a
I think,
little
yeah, but look,
because
Johnny Depp was
he,
financially ruined in a way, right? So, and I think they will ask for a lot of money for him because he needs to get money, like he has to recover his bank debt and all the stuff he had because of the divorce and all that stuff.
But Depp has done Kevin Smith films, and he
This,
recently at Venice, he swore off Hollywood. He was swearing off the big money making studios. What do you represent? If he's not full of shit, maybe
yeah,
he would say yes. Maybe he would say, "I'll do it for,
a million.
500,000 to 100,000." I have no idea. You know what I mean? I don't doubt for 100,000 because, guys, if you get into a high tax bracket, I understand what the Republicans are saying because when you make $1 million, they take half of the money. They take half the money. It's
Yeah, I
true,
know,
right?
but Johnny Depp will not do anything under $1 million. I don't think so.
Well,
You know,
yeah, I bet you're right,
yeah.
but you could try. It doesn't hurt to try.
No, I agree. And I think he's uncancelled now. He's like, he got cancelled and now he's not cancelled anymore. It's this kind of a lot of people with Kevin Spacey too, right? I think he did his due. Like, I mean, he's almost bankrupt. What else you want to do to him, right? So I think it's time to bring Kevin Spacey back in the movies. 2 times Oscar winner, amazing actor. And when I talked about him, I was shocked, because what's happening also with the agents or other actors, whatever they say, oh, if he's in the film, my actor, we cannot be in the film, right? And that is this self-fulfilling cancel culture, woke kind of self-fulfilling prophecies. And I hate this. I think it's the wrong approach, right? So if it's he never got a judgment against him. He won all the lawsuits. So there's the number one. So even if he was molesting people, whatever, from what I know is he never raped somebody.
Well,
You know?
fucking everybody makes mistakes.
Yes.
Everybody's
Yes.
been an asshole at some point in their life.
Yeah.
He was young. Who fucking knows? It's none of our business. That's what I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't like how all the everybody's personal shit from like 50 years ago, whatever the fuck, is now like everybody's business and everybody has a say about private shit, And you're right. Nobody was raped. So fucking he grabbed some guy's dick. Who fucking cares? Like, I don't
Yeah.
care,
No,
you
I
know?
agree. It cannot be the end of your career forever. And but the problem, of course, is I bet still, let's say you have a good Kevin Spacey film. I think Apple, Amazon, they're not buying it. You
It's
know,
politics. It's politics, man.
politics. It's politics. And then the people are like, I don't know who wrote me that recently, but it was when the film festivals passed on run, right? And they are scared to make a mistake. So the people they pick films for film festivals or for acquisitions like buying for a studio, buying for a TV channel, whatever, they're scared. They're just scared to make a mistake. So if they read, oh, Kevin Spacey, boop, they're not doing it because they don't want to be the person who bought the first new Kevin Spacey film after 5, 6 years. No Kevin Spacey film was done. And then you put him in a movie, and the movie is good, and everybody, but still, we cannot do it because it could be that some people getting mad with us. And I think that's the problem. I was on
Dude,
the,
it could
yeah,
be the best movie in the world. It could be the best performance ever. And if they think that this is going to hurt their bottom line as a company, if they think, oh, people will unsubscribe and we'll get canceled and we'll lose money, they'll cancel it. And it's bullshit. And they'll cancel the actor and it's bullshit. And they won't pick up the project. So that's why you're right. Kevin Spacey, great actor, would be awesome to hire him, but it would be the kiss of death for any distribution,
yes.
just like you said.
Yeah. Then you're stranded with loading it up yourself, right? Putting it on Prime or whatever and getting 10 cents a view means you recoup nothing, only if everybody watches it, right? So that's the shit situation with this. And I cannot go that in a way that risk. So I was at a video game convention here in uh, Frankfurt on the podium. It was an interesting 1 hour talk in front of an audience because I could see that there were mostly developers and younger video game people that in the business. And they were all very young and very, let's say, uh, they enjoyed the talk with me about it was my whole career, right? They of course know that I made all that video game based movies, but I had the feeling 80% of them were between 20 and 25, They didn't watch that films. They had no like experience in watching the films. They maybe knew House of the Dead or something, but most of Far Cry maybe because the game conference was in Frankfurt, sponsored by Crytek, the makers of Far Cry, and so it was interesting. But then in the very end, we talked a little about the situation in Hollywood now and the what the status quo is right now, right? And I was like. Uh, Talking about the whole cancel culture, woke algorithm, AI bullshit that you have to fulfill all the diversity riders and whatever. And you really felt the atmosphere in the room changed against me. They were like so woke that audience, right? That they felt like when I said, I hire people based on qualification. Like for me, I worked with any skin color, race, religion in tons of films. I worked with thousands and thousands of people together, and I never judge people based on where they're coming from. So I'm basically totally anti-racist, right? But they think this now is racist. They totally think you need in every production, whatever, some Africans, some Chinese, some lesbians, but some gay people, whatever you need it. It has to be like the law to do this in every film, in the crew and the cast. And that was, in a way, I mean, I overplayed it and I stayed very relaxed and easygoing, right? But I also didn't give in to this subject matter. And I said, look, when you get a little older, you maybe start thinking it more like me. And it's like there are, for example, also in film, um, jobs where women are completely underrepresented, as an example, like gaffers, electricians in the camera department, right? You have some women, but you have like, let's say the quota is 90% men, 10% woman in these jobs. So why you should then be forced to hire a woman for that jobs? Like, because the qualification is maybe not there. And, like, it cannot be like, you need to hire a bad camera operator only because she's a woman. That's bullshit. But you have other parts of the film industry, like take hair, makeup, uh, art direction, like props. You have other departments in the crew where it's 70% woman, 80% woman. And so this is like, I think, an automatic kind of that it evens it out, you know and there is, of course, like when you have a dit guy or whatever, or the sound guys, whatever, they are mostly technical geeks, and they are mostly men. That's the
Yeah.
fact, right? It's the same when you go in a video game conference. I was sitting in the room and I said, look, here are also 85% men. Because who plays video games like crazy? Who's like programmers of video games? I mean, it's 85% men, 80% men, and 20% women, 15% women. And nobody there felt like, I'm underrepresented. No, if nobody wants to do the job, you cannot be forced to hire any woman who's available to do it. It's this kind of like, I think they are now emotionally in a trap to think everybody who says something like what I said, what is zero racist, zero, right? It's the opposite of it, but they think they cannot get out of the cage they put themselves in to break free.
No, like in the 90s, I remember saying I accept everybody. I accept gay people, black people, whatever, Indian. I had friends of all different types, whatever. And then now, like before, it was like, we don't need definitions because we're all humans, which is great. And now it's like all these, like, I'm this. And if you don't call me this, then you're being offensive to me. What
Yeah.
happened to not having labels? What happened to just accepting everyone and just doing your own thing? Does it like, who gives a fuck what anybody does behind closed doors? Like, who gives two fucks about it? Like, it's your business. And like, now it has to be all about like people getting confirmation and reaffirmation from the public. And like if somebody, the public is a cruel place, and reality, they're people bully. This is reality. I know that the world and Hollywood and all this shit wants you to think that we can live in harmony. But look at like the world is an imperfect place by default, and to just put the blinders on and pretend like that's not going to happen, to not arm yourself for that fact, it's like just going in fucking blind and retarded. Like a lot of people with these definitions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. It has to change. I think also like the that the Republicans are so strong, or in Europe, the right-wing parties are so strong, is a result out of the majority of in the middle of the population doesn't want to go to this extreme on the left. It's like basically this kind of like, I'm not a right wing, but I also cannot accept anymore this total bullshit, whatever, that in San Francisco you are allowed to shoplift and nothing happens to you, or that you have 20,000 in campers at the 405 in LA living at the freeway, right? It's just kind of stuff where you lose the middle of the society, and then they just vote for the other party because they feel like, okay, we have now in Germany are like state elections, like in Eastern Germany in 3 weeks, and the AfD is the leading party there. Like they will get the most votes from all the parties, like the right wing party. And everybody's like, the Eastern Germans are all turned from communists into Nazis, whatever, right? So instead of looking into what are the government is doing wrong, what are the government actually is doing for them, or what are the government, like the politics now are so ignorant. They don't want to fix the problems. They want to fix the opponent. They want to basically make them disallowed, illegal, balloony. They want to wipe them off the earth and wipe them off the playing field, and that doesn't work. I think now when I look at the Harris thing, yes, she has like now she looks in the polls, she's leading, and now Trump looks old, and so on, right? But I tell you, before the election, it will swing again because that government also didn't, and especially she with the southern border, she didn't solve the problems. She didn't like really, let's say, was a great VP. And I think it needs to go away from, yeah, now she has the win, she got the money, she has Hollywood behind her and all that stuff. But in the very end, I think the middle population uh will put her to the test. They want to know from her. So what are you doing that you finished the Ukraine war? Trump says it, right? So like, but how you want to finish the Ukraine war because we don't want the war? How you want to fix the Gaza thing? How you want to fix the illegal migration? And so far, she's just like talking air balloons.
You know something? I bet and I hope that at their debate on TV that this is brought up because it would be smart. Because there's a lot of unclear policies right now. Trump is completely vague about what he's going to do about all sorts of shit.
True.
Project
Yeah.
2020, whatever the fuck.
Hmm.
And also we don't know where Kamala stands because her position could be different than Biden's. Just because she's his VP doesn't mean that they're the exact same fucking person.
Yeah.
Unlike what everybody says, all the Democrats are not the same. Uh, so we're gonna see. I hope if she's smart, she'll have a plan and be transparent about that plan because I think that's what's the most valuable. I think that's what makes Trump so scary is the fact that he's very ambiguous about everything. So he can go either way. He tries to win everybody over, and then you don't know what he's gonna do. You don't know what's coming, and the world markets react to that shit. It's very stressful, and that's what I think is the worst part of his presidency is that you can't see what's coming. There's no sense of norms or normalcy. It's like every day there's drama and all this fucking nonsense. I don't want to go through it again. I mean, I know you're not in America, but here we're in a powder keg. We're at a moment. I mean, in Florida here, um, it's very tense. Like I just people are saying shit like civil war and all this crap. That's fucking craziness. And I just want this all to stop. If Trump loses, they're saying civil war. And I just want to fucking it'll be like the purge. I'll like lock up my house. It'll be like those bodegas. I'll pull down the gate. Like, but yeah, it sucks. I mean, it sucks to be here in America during this shit because I just wanna, I just got married. I just wanna like be happy.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, everybody out there, this is affecting them on like a psychological level, you know? And it really it shows in everything that everybody does in the road rage and like what did I see a video of? Some guy like cut some guy off. The guy came out of his car. He yelled at, I think he hit the guy's car, and that's why this happened. He hit the guy's car, yelled, "Why did you do that?" And then the guy took a gun out, boom, 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 shot him, boom, right on the floor. He's dead. So, you know what I mean? The tensions are like that here. Like everybody's carrying weapons. People will find excuses to use those weapons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they will always say self-defense, trespassing, blah, blah, blah. I have the right to defend my own lot, like stuff like this. And then they shoot the Uber driver. So whatever, or the, the DHL guy. So it's like I see this as a huge problem.
It's
And
scary as fuck, dude. It's scary.
yeah. No, and I think that is what I said also in an earlier podcast, right? Is like America is this two steps in a way behind Europe or ahead Europe. You can say whatever you want. Because in Europe, so far, no party ever questioned the election results. There was like no even the right corner or left corner parties, when the results come, they react to it, but not like this is bullshit, you cheated the elections. In Europe, it never happened in not one country from 21 countries. That is a good sign for democracy, right? That is also a sign that the right wing parties are not Nazis. They're just right wing, but not like we kill you all Nazis, right? So that's the thing. And I think in regards of the illegal migration in Europe, we are on as you saw in England after the Taylor Swift stabbing situation, where in a kid's home, right, three little kids get killed.
Oh,
And
oh my God, that's
yeah,
horrible.
yeah, and eight kids got very badly wounded also from an Islamic Rwanda guy. And then you have these two extremes. You have the mob attacks. Tons of people have absolutely nothing to do with it, right? Totally absurd, like to make everybody being now, whoever looked like African got chased down the street now in England. And that is absolutely not okay. But on the other hand, you have the other thing, the BBC and so on, who said the whole time not who was the perpetrator, right? You cannot save the reality in lying to the population or trying that it's not getting out that the guy was from Rwanda. They said it's a British citizen. He was born in UK. It's true, he's a British citizen, but of course he's not British. He is from a Islamic country, and he grew up with the parents maybe in England, but under different kind of let's say conditions.
That is an example of the spin that you will see on the facts, that varying on who owns the company of the news media. Like if it's like the New York Times, they'll cover it in one way. They'll cover it in like a very like if somebody, let's just say the guy who's editing it is black, he's like, I'll leave out the fact that he's black because it's not important, or I'll leave out the fact that he's an Islamic terrorist because it's not relevant to the article. But it is kind of in that sense, at least the Islamic, you know what I mean? So, but yet the Daily News will definitely put that
Right.
in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And that's the thing. I think the, my film Run, who has that subject matter, I think that's the reason the festival's passed on it. It's unsettling, because I show how a situation turns violent. And I think they don't want that to show to their festival audience or whatever. They don't want that even a film like this exists. They only want to show the uplifting stories about great migration, people coming in and turning into Einstein part two. But of course, that's wrong. It's not the case. And I think the key element of the unrest and the possible like violent outburst in the after the next US election is exactly this, that they don't feel like accepted. I watched that from Jon Stewart, the guy who went, that 15 minutes is on YouTube, where a reporter from the Jon Stewart, The Daily Show, went to the Trump campaign and talked to the people in front of the campaign, right? And of course, he made indirectly fun out of them. But when you listen to them, right, they're all saying it was an inside job, the attack. They don't believe that a Republican white teenager nuthead tried to kill Trump. They think it's fake. They think it's not, but most of them thought he did, this was not even a perpetrator. And they also think there were various people involved. They also think it was an inside job. Obama knew what was doing. It was like an agent, whatever. Like, like, so they are full of, and the guy, I mean, he made good fun of them and said, look, why going for the obvious that a nuthead who posted the video about it tried to kill him if you can make it very complicated and you come to the whole deep state craziness, So, but here comes my but. The but is that, of course, it was a total fuck up from the Secret Service to not get that guy off the roof an hour before the shooting. It is fishy that he was on that roof and people saw him and reported him and it was talk about it and the guy went up on a ladder and told him come up from the roof and the sharpshooter was looking at him through the binocular and asked for what is this guy doing there, should I shoot him, and never got the clearance. It was a total fuck up. I personally believe it was a total fuck up because you have that a lot with bodyguards or Secret Service people. They don't really believe that something can happen, right? Because normally absolutely nothing happens. I think they were reacting wrong. They were the Secret Service woman who could maybe said, yeah, shoot the guy on the roof, maybe felt, look, it looks peaceful, everything is calm, Trump is talking, I don't want to have a panic. I mean, there would be a panic. Let's say Trump is talking and you hear nothing, and then you hear boom, and the guy rolls that from the roof. Uh, I mean, yes, that was the way to handle it, but she was maybe scared, or like they were scared to give the order, shoot the guy. They don't want to kill also an innocent guy who's just laying on the roof, and you don't even know, is it a gun or is it like, just wants a better look at the Trump speech. I don't know, but I think it was an individual fuck up. I don't think it was a plot to
Oh
kill
yeah.
Trump.
Yeah, it wasn't like fucking Joe Biden was like, okay, guys,
Yeah.
well, the
Yeah.
moment that he gives that speech, I want you to look the other way. Like,
Yeah.
fucking, it did not. It's just a fuck up. They fucked up.
Yes. And that's the thing. But all the media declares all these Trump conspiracy theorists, for you're an idiot. You're just mental ill. You bring things up that make no fucking sense. What is kind of true, but it's also you don't try to go that one step in that direction. And that drives them all to Trump. They feel unheard.
Oh
you
yeah.
know
No,
they
that's
feel
why
they
like
feel not, like if the governor, like from California or whatever, or if all these people would say, yes, San Francisco is unlivable, I understand why X went to Texas, it's a shithole, we don't know what to do, we're failing on a daily basis, we have to do something. If they would at least address it like this, I think you could win a lot of Republican voters. But if they're acting like it's the best thing in San Francisco that you cannot go to the Fisherman's Wharf anymore, like stuff like this, if you just ignore that shit, then the people vote against you.
yeah,
That's the problem.
when I was in high school, I went to high school in San Francisco because my mom worked at the San Francisco Chronicle paper, and it was a beautiful city. I live right by the beach on Judah,
Super.
and yeah, it was wonderful. And the city was so safe. It was a wonderful place. I was as a 16-year-old, I could just go anywhere I wanted. I got to experience, life in a city that wasn't as harsh as New York City was.
Yeah.
And I would go down to Fisherman's Wharf in the evenings, and we would see the seals, and we would feed
Yes.
the seals and
I
all this
love
stuff.
those seals. Yeah. Yeah.
It was great. We had a lot of fun. And now I haven't been back in a long time. I was back there probably about 10, 11 years ago. and the Fisherman's Wharf is like all like homeless people, and it's like it's not safe. There was a shooting there. And it's not the same place as it was in the mid 90s, early 90s. Um, and I can really see that. And you're right, like we need to look at not an ideal world, but the world that we've been given, the world that we're in. And it's imperfect. There's some things that we may not like, but we have to deal with. Because if we just turn the other way and say, this is morally reprehensible, yeah, it sucks that they're homeless. It sucks that they have nowhere to go. And it sucks that the system is locked up, that there isn't enough homes for them. This is something that we need to work on. Republicans are trying to cut these fundings, and that's the problem, is that they want to have their cake and eat it too. Like, yes, they can't, rely on the system forever. Some of them don't want to get off. I understand. Some of them just want to use drugs and shoplift and whatever. But the ones that can be rehabilitated, they are out there, and they need that opportunity to be able to get out because the economy, the way that the prices, the rents, to
Yeah.
be able to get that startup, to get that push out of that fucked up situation for you or your kids or whatever the fuck is hard. It's hard. It takes a lot of resources. And I get why the Republicans are really like, we need to cut it, we need to cut it, we need to cut it. And because it's out of fucking control. It's like a domino effect. More people are coming in, there's not as much resources to deal with it, and then we're overwhelmed and the cities look like shit. So like really it comes down to the border stuff, and it comes down to what we're willing to spend our social resources on. What you just said about how Germany and Europe is like almost more if like technologically and societally evolved. Like you guys have better structure, infrastructure than we have in the US because the Republicans fight all of the upgrades to the electrical grid, to like, to having electric cars have more whatever pumps nationwide. Anything that Europe or China, Europe, all this stuff, you're gonna surpass us because you guys are putting more money into like roads and the bridges. Look at our bridges falling apart, all this shit. It's because cuts, 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 cuts. So you really can't have your cake and eat it too. You have to be able to see both sides. I know the Republicans want to cut money because they're tired of paying all these huge taxes. Well, like I said, the $1 million that gets cut in half, those $500,000 goes towards these public systems. So if you cut that out, if you give the Republicans more of a tax break and we cut more of these social services, more of our lives are that America is no longer going to be this like promised land like Germany, all these other countries will be better than us grid wise, structurally. And it's fucked up. So people need to look at both sides. They need to come together at some point to see both sides because
But it
we're
has
going to fall behind.
no, but in US has one other problem, right? It's very big, and you have completely different cultures inside the country. In Europe, the countries are kind of smaller and things are very tight together. So you cannot have the Prairie, Alabama rules, and then you have the San Francisco, LA world. It's like that doesn't work in Europe because the countries are too small and there's a high dense population. So you need one social status, one life, right? So one and one kind of like as you said, like the infrastructure matters. If you have clean water everywhere and electricity and internet and stuff like this, and that is easier in Europe because it's tighter, it's smaller together. That's the one thing. But the other thing is also like when I talked like years and years ago, and I was totally fascinated by the line. Like a super ultra right wing guy. He told me like, look, you know how you get the homeless from the streets? Don't pay them. So, and then when you think about it, yes, that's true. When you let's say you have one homeless guy on a corner begging, right? You go by, nobody gives him money. He will go somewhere else to a different block, to a different city, maybe even, right? But this is not the problem we have anymore. We have a mass homeless drug problem. And it's like when you say don't pay them, let's say San Francisco, you cut all the support for them, all of it, right? Then you have crime. You don't have like, the guy's disappointed. Now he starts working somewhere at the gas station because, oh, begging that it's not a good job anymore. Now I work, right? It doesn't work because they are mentally fucked up, also because of the drugs and whatever. And they're not flexible, and means they will start killing each other and other people. And let's say also you say in San Francisco, like they have to just we clear the whole beach, the whole Fisherman's Wharf up to the Golden Gate Bridge. We clean it out, the purge, right? So now you take it all out, take the people out. But okay, but then what do you want to do? Bring them to Napa Valley? I mean, the thing is like, what do you actually want to do? Incarcerate them all without a judgment? That's the problem. And I think the Republicans, of course, it's very populistic. It's very easy to clear the problems in just saying one line. Don't pay them, they will all disappear. It sounds great, but it doesn't work. You
You know
know,
what we need? You know what we fucking need in this country? We need more power. Like back in the day, they had more power to like uh, involuntarily put people into asylums. I'm not saying bring back asylums. I'm saying like if somebody is homeless and they're hooked on drugs and don't they are not there to comprehend the low point that they're at because they're so fucked up. They don't want to change. They don't see the need to change. They're resistant. There has to be a way to be able to take them and detox them with against their will. They don't want to do
yes.
it for the betterment of themselves and the betterment of society so they can be rehabilitated. Because, there should be like a rating system. Like they go through the system, families and kids. Yeah, they can go through. This guy, he's giving us problems. What's wrong with him? We find out what's wrong with him. We treat what's wrong with him. Then we put him through the fucking system. We see what happens. Like, it's that they're putting too much. They're like, the system is so overwhelmed that they're putting the choice too much into the person's hands, afraid to like violate their First Amendment rights, when in reality, the betterment of society needs for these people to be clean, needs for their minds to work. Otherwise, what impact will this person have on society but death and um, like being a leech, a financial leech, the ones that Republicans always complain about? So really, there has to be a place in between two places. If
There are
Republicans want all the
studies.
strains on social services to end, we have to fucking start treating these fucking people, and we have to do it any way possible.
Yeah, but there are I looked deeper into this because my Bauer's restaurant was right there where all the druggies were, right? So there are studies that the detox alone leads to nothing. So the only way to turn them around is they need to get in a like facility a long term. So because if you take a druggie from the street within a week, he's clean, right? So like it's easy, but then you let him go and he goes back to his life. So you need to put them a year or two in a clinic because after 2 or 3 months, they're finally getting it, that they have a real shot. They're clean. They don't take the drugs anymore. Now it's all about trade learning. Like they need to learn trades. They need to go like in a way, like you bring them working in a restaurant, for example, right? But you have, of course, somebody there who make sure they're not running away. But you integrate them in society in all the jobs they are needed. But that is costly because you need all that guards, basically. And I'm not talking about people they shoot you if you run away, but like social workers working working with them. But that's the way to do it. A lot of times in Vancouver too, they had that basically we fish them off the street, we put them in a facility, kind of a jail, we detox them, right? And then after 2 weeks, like you sign out and you are back on the street. So that's money waste because this will never lead to you have like long term less druggies on the street. It doesn't work. So of
What
course
I
the
think
key.
is I think it's there's three things here. Like number one, fucking detox. I think truly to detox and to get back to like a normal level takes years. It takes a long time. It doesn't take 2 months. And that's the problem. That's
But
why they
wait,
can that's why they relapse,
wait 1 second. The first thing to get off the drugs is only in a week. The body doesn't have the body, not the mind. The mind still want the drugs, right? But your body doesn't need the drug. Right now, when you're a heroin addict or fentanyl, your body needs the drug. Like you shut down without the drug. Like you're really so and that is after a week, it gets already better. But you're totally right. The mindset is that plays games with you and you will be of course get back to drugs if you get free. That takes months and months and months, even a year before you're off the situation, you know?
And number two, dude,
Yeah.
even if they're off, even if they're clean, they're a product of their environment. You just put them back in the exact same fucking environment. It's gonna happen all over again. They need a clean start, a better fucking place, a more positive environment with better people, maybe their family, or something that's like different from where they were before. But there's no way to like place them in these things. When they're out, it's their fucking decision. They do what they want to do. And half the time they go exactly back to their old habits because it's just fucking there. So like somebody's got to think about this.
Oh,
Like,
they need a relocation. Like, let's say you're the
yeah,
only guy who's clean, and now they let you back to all your buddies, and they're like totally still under drugs. It takes a week. You do the drugs. You know,
yeah.
that's the thing. You need a relocation, and you need this kind of uh, a vision. Like that is how I move forward, away from the drugs, away from all the mayhem. And
And it's
yeah,
therapy too. Like therapy is like a guide to help you through these steps. Because if you give it to just them, the weight is too much. It's too much of a too much effort. I'm too tired. But you give them like what do they have in AA? They have like a sponsor. Do you know what I mean? Give them
yeah.
like a sponsor, somebody who's responsible for them to motivate them to be the one that they can talk to help them through this growing journey.
Yeah, and
I
look,
mean,
we had in Vancouver, we had a whole like and I supported this. There were people they wanted to build kind of a facility outside in forest in Vancouver where they get exactly that therapy doctors saying, but it is kind of an incarceration, right? So, but that on within 10 years would save more money what they spend right now on ambulances, AIs like the emergency rooms, and policing. It costs more. What they, in comparison to building the whole camp and paying it all. They have in Vancouver, the gas town where my restaurant was, had 380 per day ambulances going full with people bringing them with an overdose. 380 situations per day. So you add another 300 top situations, robbery here, assault there a day. So that costs money, right? And the city, they're always too stupid, the politicians, because they say, yeah, good, but that people are on payroll. They're getting paid no matter what. The camp costs extra, right? But of course, you could like slowly lose ambulances and ambulance drivers and reduce the police if you have less crime and less accidents and drug overdose, right? Then you don't need that army of cars anymore going out. But they don't get it, and that's the big problem. It's
yeah.
like the short term money is always ruling the long term politics.
You know something fucked up that I was thinking? I saw the movie Deadpool 3 the other day. This is kind of related to this. And Deadpool was like kind of talking about doing cocaine, joking about it. It was like a part of the character and the jokes or something. Haha, it's funny for adults, but you know, the kids were watching this movie.
Yeah.
And I just feel like society, the reason why people are so fucked up is because society is hard. Life is hard. People are cruel and it's hard out there. And you've got to be fucking prepared. You've got to be strong to be able to make it out there. And I don't know. I feel like uh a lot of people boy, I forgot my train of thought. Where was I going with that? Where did I start?
No way, way. I mean, where the it's a negative influence for the young kids that drug use in this kind of
Oh yeah,
films,
yeah, yeah. That kind of
has a
stuff
negative.
is
Uh,
influential. Yeah,
yeah,
that alcohol and cocaine and all this usage in films, p kids see that they're influenced by that, whether we want to believe this or not. It's encoded in your brain from young, based on all this stuff that we consume on our society. It influences us. It's why we smoke cigarettes. All these toxins we put in because they want to sell Marlboro cigarettes, because they want to sell Heineken, because they want to sell liquor, because they want to sell whatever, because drug dealers want to make money. But they idolize this as if that's cool or that's the way. That's what everybody does. That's the escape. And I feel like that's really the problem. Like kids go to that at first when you start drinking, or at first when you start doing cocaine or whatever, even though I've never done cocaine because I'm I'm good. But my dad was a drug addict. When you start doing that stuff, at first it's like you're heightened, it's great, you feel good, but then you need that stuff just to be standard. And
Yeah.
then it slowly starts to become a nightmare. It slowly becomes everything you're thinking about, everything that you're doing every day is dedicated to that. You'll fuck over anybody that you know or love. It doesn't matter because it's all about this one thing. Your whole life is dedicated to that cycle. And these people out there, like, if you put that shit in your system, even casually as a teenager or whatever, it's still in your system long term. It's still fucking up. It probably fucked up your brain. It did something. And, later in life, you're fucked up. You're like, why am I so fucked up? It's because you didn't take care of your body. And you listen to all these horrible movies that try to reprogram you to say, this is the way, this is when in reality, the way is taking care of yourself in a positive way. Like if you want to escape and relax and you think that, oh, I got to go have a beer to relax, that's not a constructive, positive thing. Like you go and you like make you think that cooking is relaxing, or you like playing video games or something, or you know what I mean? Something that's personal to the person. You don't have to rely on, oh, I want to go home and have a drink. I had such a day at work or whatever. It's really easy to get into that fucking habit. And then before you know it, you lose control. I've seen it. Like, look at my dad, like when I was a kid, I remember us sitting on the couch, some dude coming in. He told us to stand up. The guy moves the fucking couch out because he sold the couch from underneath us. That was like one of my earliest memories as a child.
That
Uh-huh.
is bad.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So like fucking that shit will take the fuck over, and something's got to be done with the way, because it's like brands are so obsessed with selling their shit that they don't care that it hurts you. It's approved by the FDA. Well, that's good enough. It's poison. It's poison in your body. It's the reason why you're fat or your glands are fucked up or whatever, or you're depressed. Not necessarily everybody out there has this problem, but I see a lot of miserable people out there. Bars are full, drug usage is rampant. People are desperate in the streets. I think a lot of it has to do with inhibitions being lowered due to long-term exposure to these toxins. Does it
No,
make any sense?
for in the end, so tell us, how was the film? I didn't watch it so far. Is it good? Is it funny? I mean, it got good reviews in a way, and it's a big hit.
Which film?
Yeah,
Deadpool?
yeah.
Oh, Deadpool. Deadpool was good. I mean, I liked one. I didn't like two that much. But three, it's a very self-aware film. And yeah, it's kind of a missed opportunity in some ways. Like, for example, the bad guy, they could have used a bad guy from one of the other many Marvel films that people already know, but they had to introduce a new bad guy. And they made like the female version of Professor Xavier, Patrick Stewart's
Okay.
character. Who cares about that? They had a lot of cameos, though. They had a lot of cameos. That's what held the movie together. I would say check it out.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as hard as it should have been. It was hard in the way that they said fuck a lot, but it wasn't as violent as part two or one. So
That is what I liked in the original two parts, that it was funny, ironically, and very cynical, but also very gory, right? So I like that, when you had no legs anymore, and then the legs start growing. That was the fun part of the stuff. So I will watch it. I couldn't go in with Walter because they would not let him in. So
oh
yeah, yeah,
wow.
yeah. He's 10, right? And so to do in parent guidance, whatever, you have to be 12. So they would not
You should
let.
have just said he was 12.
No, I know I'm an idiot, but I never, I didn't read the small stuff at the ticket counter. So, uh, yeah, okie dokie. Then I would say for today, that was it. And we keep us,
Everybody, wait, everybody buy his book. Go on Amazon,
yeah,
right?
buy the book, Uwe Boll memoir on Bear Manor Media, and also just try to watch Run starting August 30. Not Run, First Shift, my God. Too many movies already. Okay, bye bye. Wait, I stopped the recording. Bye bye.